Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today is time for a book haul. I haven't hauled some books in a while and there are three piles. There are piles. There's not just one pile, there's three piles of books. So things have got a bit wrong in terms of my physical TBR because the books have been coming into the household. They've been arriving, buying has been happening. It's very hot here, so if I start sweating, then it's because it is very, very hot here in the UK and London does not do very well with heat and it's warm and we don't have AC. Europe doesn't really do AC. It's not a thing here. So, might get a bit warm, but we're gonna haul the books. The first part I have here is actually some gifts. So it was my birthday this month and some of my lovely friends got me some gifts. Thank you for anyone that got me a gift. And you got me some books that I'm very, very excited about. So I will just show them off. It's not an unboxing. I did an unboxing last year, but I was very impatient this year. Last year, I don't know what self-restraint I had. I just let the boxes, I let them sit in the corner and then I just unboxed them all. This year, no, I was not patient. I was like, I've got a package. And I just opened it. So no, we don't have an unboxing. Jessie from The Bookish Mum gifted me Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. This is the first book in a Regency romance series, but with fairies. So it's got fantasy elements to it. I've heard this is really, really fun. I was just talking to Elliot Brooks about it and she really liked it. So that's got me really excited to read this. And thank you, Jessie, for getting this for me because it just sounds so cute and fun. And I feel like I'm just gonna blast through it and have such fun with this. My friend Vish got me Shipped by Angie Hockman, which is a romance. I mean, I'm sorry, that's quite obvious. It is a romance, two arch rivals, one promotion. Can they resist falling for one another in paradise? And I believe they go on this cruise or something to test out their product. Draft a proposal on how to boost bookings in the Galapagos. The catch, they have to go on a company cruise together. I mean, what a great job. Yeah, I think I'm gonna not relate to this because I've never had that situation happen, but I work in the travel industry. I don't actually work on the cruise product that we have, and I can't say I've ever been told to go on a cruise to try and get a job, but I do work in this sort of industry, so I think I'm going to find that quite fun. Not that there would be anything romantic with any of my colleagues. I've got a lovely boyfriend and we're in very separate industries. There was absolutely no one at work. Ugh, ew. On romance, Joanna, lovely friend Joanna, she got me Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Emily Henry is one of my favourite romance authors, so I have read all of her books and I already own People We Meet on Vacation and Beach Read. This was the one that I didn't own in a physical form because I'd read them on Kindle. She knows this is one of my favourites. She knows it. Very happy to add this to my little Emily Henry collection. And Joanna also got me Gleam, which is the third book in the Play to Prison series by Raven Kennedy. I have read both Gild and Glint, and so this would be the next one that I need to read. This one's they're getting chunky. They're getting quite chunky now. So I'm excited to keep going with this fantasy romance series. It's a King Midas retelling and our main character is pretty much like his pet or prisoner, and it's her on her journey and her sort of coming to terms with where she's at in life and having her own identity and moving away a little bit from that. It's not really very romancy so far. There's been very little romance and I don't really like many of the men in it, but we will see how this third book goes. Sophia at Sophia's Thoughts got me the perfect book. She got me Lachlan's by Robert Jackson Bennett, the third book in the Founders trilogy. So Fountricide and Shorefall are the first two books, and this is the third book, and it's just come out in June, and I'm so excited to finish this series. She has also very lovingly reread the first two books and made me a little summary of them so that I can go into this with some preparation instead of going in I can't remember anything. So thank you so much, Sophia, for both the book and the recap. This is an epic fantasy story following our main character, Sansia, and at the beginning of the book, she steals this object, which then means that other people are after her, and it's got a really interesting magic system where objects can be made to believe that they are something else than what they actually are. And you can code them to think that they are doing something, which is really, really cool. I find it really fun and I'm really excited to dive into this third and final book, and I hope it lives up to my memories and expectations of the first two books in the series. my friend Sam, who has an Instagram called Tome Tower, has got me Skyward Flight. This is the collection of short stories in the Skyward universe by Brandon Sanderson. I have like paused my reading of the series until the release of the 4th book, so I'm really looking forward to maybe like in the winter or early spring starting my reread and rereading Skyward and Starsight, and then actually reading for the first time these short stories and Cytonic. So I am ready and I'm getting prepared for that reread. So thank you so much, Sam, for these short stories. And then I have just met up with Stephanie from Stephanie's Book Verse. She is doing a Europe trip and she came over with a book for me. And if you know, it's a book that I've been looking for, hunting for, been trying to get for a very, very long time, and she knew this and she brought it over from America for me so that my collection can be complete. And it's Son of the Shadows by Juliet Marillier, because I have a situation here with books 1, 2 and 3, and book 2 was just not, it was impossible to find, it was not available, and Stephanie, she brought me the book. She brought me the book all the way, and she was like, I don't understand why this book's so easily available in the US but it's not available at all in the UK. Why can you get books 1 and 3 but not 2? So it's the second book in the Seven Waters series by Juliet Marillier, which I have loved reading this year, and the first book's like a fairy tale retelling of the 6 swans, following our main character Saoirse and her family relationships and the atmosphere of rural Ireland. And this is the second book. It's a multi-generational story, so this is following some children from that first book with an overarching plot that goes through the whole trilogy. And I might just put it in now. I might put it in its spot, because why not? Because it has, like, for the unhaul pile, it was just a temporary spot until I got the right one. But there we go. Off to unhaul. Here we go. Go on, in you go, please fit. Oh, doesn't that look so much better? Oh, doesn't that look so much better? Look at them all together. Oh, that's just, isn't that great? Isn't that great? Oh. Now, on to some other books. So, books that I got myself, yeah. Books that I treated myself to and then kept treating myself, because why not? Why not? A few weeks ago, yeah, it was a few weeks ago now, back in June, Sophia and I went book shopping together. There is a book warehouse called 66 Books, which is just outside of London. I will link details to it down below if you're interested in visiting it. And they have like this big warehouse, and then one weekend each month they open to the public. Generally it's for like wholesale, but for that one weekend the public can go and the public can get books for 70% of the normal selling price. So I got a little stack of books for very, very cheap. This was featured in my sci-fi vlog that I did. I said, like, spend a weekend with me reading sci-fi, and Sophie and I went to the bookstore. So I will link that if you're interested in watching that and seeing some of the clips from the bookstore. Whilst I was there, I got both Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and Take a Hint, Danny Brown, the first 2 books in the Brown Sisters series. This one I have read previously, this one I have not read. But I thought, why not get them? Why not? They didn't have Eve, but I will try and pick that up at some other point maybe. I also got Hyperion by Dan Simmons, a classic work of sci-fi. I believe this is sort of like short stories in here that create a full narrative, and it's a sci-fi duology. I got The Hand of the Sun King by J.T. Greathouse, which is a Petrick recommendation. And I think you're following someone whose parents are from like different sides of this empire, and they have different priorities, and he's growing up in between the two, and he's trying to choose which path he should follow down. His choices lead him to be entangled in a war between the gods. So Petrick loved it. I picked it up. I also got The Light of the Midnight Stars, which is like a folktale retelling set around Hungary and Jewish mythology. This one I have actually read already, and it was in my mini TBR Star Hop vlog that I did, which was hosted by Stephanie, who I already mentioned. She got me this lovely book. So it is in my vlog for that, where I did a lot of reading over one weekend. Speaking of that vlog, during that same weekend, I bought myself Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher, which I read during that weekend as well. And this is again like a fairy tale, folktale sort of book, and you're following this princess of this kingdom that is intent on killing the king of another kingdom because of his actions and the way that he has been treating her sisters. And it's her and her adventure and the camaraderie between her and her not colleagues, she's not at work, but her and her friends and comrades that she meets along the way. And the companions are just so like quirky and fun. Like there's this bone dog, it's just and a demon in a chicken. It was really bizarre but quite fun, and although there were some moments that were quite dark, it was also quite humorous. So this was quite fun. I picked up Glint, so this was the second book in the Place of Prisoners series. So Glean, the one that Joanna gave me, was the third one. I picked up Glint just because I felt like reading it. I was like, I feel like reading this right now, so I went and got it for myself. No other real reason for it, I just felt like it. I went and bought it, and I went and read it, and that was that. Another one, and this one I am currently reading, is For the Throne by Hannah Witten. I read For the Wolf a bit out the blue. I was like, I just feel like reading this. I just felt like reading it. So I read For the Wolf, I enjoyed it, and so I instantly went to the bookstore and I bought For the Throne because I thought, why not just finish the duology? And I am currently reading it. This again is quite fairy tale-esque. I guess I've been on a bit of a fairy tale kick because I seem to have been reading quite a few of those books lately. The first book, For the Wolf, you're following our main character Red, who, as the second daughter, is sent off to the forest, where she is sent to the wolf. And this is seen as like a sacrifice, that every second daughter is sent to the wolf in exchange for protection from the Shadowlands and these evil creatures. And you follow her and her journey through the woods to this wolf, and then the situation following that. This book, For the Throne, is following the first sister, Neve, and you do get some of her perspectives in that first book, and you see what is driving her and driving her motivations. And then this second book is mostly following her, but also read at the same time. There is very much a sisterly duology, I would say. That there is a lot of like romance and fantasy elements in it, but sisters and that sisterly relationship is quite at the forefront. And I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. So we'll see. It won't take me long to finish this, I don't think. I recently went to France. Actually, for my birthday week, I went to France. I've got family there, so it was just really, really nice. Like we spent the whole week in Paris, or just outside of Paris, doing like some touristy things, just spending time with family. It was lovely. It was lovely. I love France. I love Paris. So I picked myself up a book whilst I was there, and that is La vérité sur l'affaire Harry Kilbert. The Truth About the Harry Kilbert Affair. This is a book that my boyfriend has actually read, and we have it in English somewhere because he's read it, but it's originally written in French because the author is Swiss. I had no idea about this. I had no idea that this was a French book. I assumed it was an English book because we had it in English in the household. And this is a mystery, and I think it's set in two timelines because, and it's actually set in the US. Maybe that was another reason as well why I thought it was like an English book. Yeah, so in 1975, Nola Kelgan is a 15-year-old girl that disappears under mysterious circumstances. I guess nothing happened, like they didn't discover anything at the time. Then in 2008, Marcus Goldman is a young writer who is struggling to write his next novel, and he goes down to visit his old professor and friend, Harry Kilbert. A little after his return to New York, where he lives, Nola Kelgan's body is found on Harry Kilbert's estate. Convinced of Harry's innocence, Marcus does everything to try and clear his name, and it's the events surrounding that. I've heard it's really good. I've heard generally positive things. My boyfriend raced through it. I have another friend at work that has actually been reading all of this guy's works that are currently published, and I thought, well, if I'm going to read it, I should read it in its original language. It's longer than I thought it was going to be because it's like 800 and something pages. So it's rather long, but that is 800 pages of like mass market paperback and like pretty large font with large margins. So hopefully it won't be as daunting as all that, but it is in my second language. Now for some very chunky books that I've picked up, chunky, I picked up The Veiled Throne and Speaking Bones by Ken Liu. The Veiled Throne I picked up a while ago now, but I don't think I've hauled it, and I've actually read this one. This one was in Forbidden Planet. I picked these both up in Forbidden Planet, but at different shopping times. This one is signed, and it was £5. It was £5. It was a steal, it was a bargain. When I picked this up, I'd only read Grace of Kings and I'd given it like 3.5 stars. Like, I'd liked it, but I hadn't loved it. And I was like, is this a bit risky, seeing as I haven't read Wall of Storms? As you may now know, I adored Wall of Storms. And I really, really like this one as well. So it was a great decision to pick this up when I did, because it was a small risk that really paid off to have a signed hardback edition of this for such a good price. So this one, and then yesterday when I was touring London with Stephanie, I picked up Speaking Bones because I had to. I have to finish the series because I'm obsessed with it. So I am now ready and prepared to read this. I think it will be my next read once I finish For the Throne, and I'm so excited. I'm really excited to finish off the series and see how it's all going to end. I think it's going to be very traumatic, but I'm prepared. I'm preparing myself. This one was not signed. This one was, well, it had £8 off, but closer to full price. This one is over 1,000 pages. It's a big un. I'm committed, but I'm so excited to finish this series off, and they're just so pretty. If you don't know, the Dandelion Dynasty is a historical fantasy set around the kingdom of Dara, which is based on Chinese history, and at the beginning of The Grace of Kings, the emperor has died, and you are following the political ramifications of that and the circumstances that this creates and the factions that are trying to take control of Dara. And then as the series progresses, you are following, I guess it's sort of multi-generational, and it becomes, I would say, more fantasy heavy as it goes along, but fantasy in terms of like engineering, and I think the term is silk punk for these books, but I'm loving it. Heavy. How am I meant to film a thumbnail with those two books in here? And then the final book that I picked up, this one again with Stephanie yesterday, was The Final Strife by Sahara El Arifi. It just called to me. I know it's the first book in a trilogy and there's no news on the rest of the books, but it's just called to me, and it's pretty, yeah, and it's signed, and it's got these end pages that just like, oh dear, it's got these end pages, and it just wanted to come home with me, and Stephanie didn't stop me from buying it. We actually both bought this book. We both bought it. It just said buy me, so I bought it. Because what happens if I didn't buy it and then I couldn't find it in hardback later on, and it's signed? Anyway, I'm very excited to read it. I feel like I'm gonna love it. I have such good feelings about this book. I have good feelings. It gives me positive vibes. So there we go. I am now surrounded by books. Surrounded. Those are the books that I got for my birthday, and I got for myself as a treat myself, maybe for my birthday, and before my birthday, and after my birthday. There are some books that have come into my household. I now need to go and find room for them and fit them onto the shelves and force them onto these bookshelves, and I need to get to reading so I can actually read these. Yeah, that needs to happen. How has your book buying been going lately? Have you been buying too many books? Have you been treating yourself, or have you been very restrained and not been buying too many books? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!